On Friday, CNN contributor Van Jones joked about the horrific slaughter of literal children in the Gaza Strip. And this was during an episode of Real Time with Bill Maher. Bill Maher, by the way, a huge defender of Israel, tends to think that all Muslims are dangerous extremists. So you kind of get a sense of the environment in which Van Jones made that statement. Now, Jones has since apologized for some of his remark, but that wasn't good enough for Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen, who addressed the bigger issue with what Jones had to say. And we'll get to that statement in just a minute. But first, here's what Jones said on Real Time. Quote, Iran and Qatar have come up with a disinformation campaign that they are running through TikTok and Instagram that is massive. If you're a young person, you open up your phone and all you see is dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, Diddy, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby. That's basically your whole feed. Now, let me just pause to say that it's not a disinformation campaign that there are a bunch of dead Gazan babies, because Israel has leveled the Gaza Strip and killed at minimum tens of thousands of innocent civilians. And again, I really want to emphasize the at minimum part. So maybe it's not a disinformation campaign. Maybe it's the reality on the ground. And why do you take issue with the public knowing about the reality on the ground? Nonetheless, the next day, Jones apologized for what he said on X. Here's an excerpt from his post. The suffering of the people of Gaza, especially the children, is not a punchline. I'm deeply sorry it came across that way. What's happening to children in Gaza is heartbreaking. As a father, I can't begin to imagine the pain their parents are enduring, unable to protect their kids from unimaginable harm. Now, Senator Van Hollen did respond to that apology, saying the following. I'm glad Van Jones apologized for his sick joking about dead kids in Gaza, but the problem goes deeper. He spread Netanyahu propaganda that the mass killings of civilians in Gaza, including 20,000 plus kids, is Iranian fake news. He also cited Qatar, by the way, which is a US ally. I noticed that there's been more and more rhetoric that's meant to like pit the US against Qatar, but let me just continue. It's not the students and young people who are fooled, it's Van Jones. And I completely agree with that take. In fact, it's the Israeli prime minister who has outright admitted that he seeks complete control of TikTok and X. And yet pro-IDF mouthpieces are running with the Qatar line. So I'll give you more of that in just a minute. But Cenk, Van Jones, he's hit or miss. Sometimes I agree with him, sometimes I deeply, deeply disagree with him. We've had relatively friendly relations with him, but I'm curious if you think that his apology was adequate enough.
No, I'm not worried about the apology. And this is not just a disagreement. I think this is worse, and it's a little heartbreaking. So let's dive into the details. So he does the joke, haha, funny Gaza, dead babies. Thomas Friedman and Bill Maher laughed their ass off. Like, dead babies. Imagine if they were dead Jewish babies. Dead Jew baby, dead Jew baby, dead Jew, P. Diddy, dead Jew baby. What would happen? Van Jones' career would be over instantly, right? It's over. Please tell me it wouldn't be over. Please make a fool of yourself and tell me that. Of course, everybody knows it would be over. You can't do that, for Israelis or certainly Jews in America. And maybe, and I think you probably shouldn't be able to for Jews. For Israel, you can say anything you like. But for Muslims, who cares? Who cares? Who cares about their stupid Friedman and Maher laugh, right? So look, but nevertheless, I care way less about jokes. So if it was just that and then he apologized, I would get past it. It's not the end of the world. Okay. But Iran and Qatar are doing propaganda on TikTok and Instagram? No one believes that. No. The only reason that you say that is if you're a propagandist for Israel, period. So super disappointing. I couldn't be more disappointed. Van Jones doesn't actually think that. There's no way that a rational, smart human being believes that. That is a talking point given to him by some Israeli handler. I guarantee it. Iran and Qatar. What are there all those 20,000 dead kids fake? Iran just made up the videos, Qatar did? No, nobody believes that in their right mind. That's what he should apologize for. Of course, the people that are doing propaganda on Instagram and TikTok are Israel. And Netanyahu said on camera, oh, we're having people buy TikTok for us. And then X will be under control because Elon is a friend. We're going to take control of these media companies. Okay, he's saying it on tape. And then Van Jones comes out, oh, it is not Israel doing propaganda in the media, it is Iran and Qatar. Get out of here. No, I'm done. I'm not interested in Van Jones anymore. So that's, come on, man, Jesus Christ, have some self-respect. So no, and guys, TV is filled to the rim with Israeli propagandists. There are people, there are people who are pundits on television. I don't want to start wars here, media wars, but that have been found when they were young, and then their political career was funded by AIPAC and other Israeli lobbies. They've been funded by the Israelis for decades, and then they get put on TV like, oh, rando state senator. Oh, he was such a promising state senator. So now CNN has him as a pundit. I'm not naming names. And then that pundit always comes out when Israel's accused of racism or something, and all of a sudden a black pundit shows up on air and goes, no, the real bigotry against this poor Israel. Oh, they're crushing the Palestinians. Who cares? Who cares about the Palestinians? Now, did you tell him that you've been getting checks from Israel the whole time? I'm not talking about Van Jones. I don't know what Van Jones' story is, but obviously he's given talking points by Israel because that is pure propaganda. It has a 0% truth, 0%. But if you say, hey, Israel is literally saying on air, we're going to buy TikTok. Mitt Romney said it, and other Democratic congressmen said it. They said, oh, China's not the real problem with TikTok. Israel is. Israel's telling us to cut TikTok out. Those are all on tape. But if you say it on CNN, they'll be like, anti-Semite, cancel him, ruin his life, right? But Van Jones can come on and totally lie about how, oh, the all-powerful Iran and Qatar, boy, they're really running TikTok. What a joke, what a colossal joke. But CNN, HBO is like, oh boy, way to go. Way to defend Israel and make up lies to do propaganda for them. So I don't give a goddamn about the joke. The fake news, 100% fake news that he put out there is the real problem. And thank you, Chris Van Hollen. That's a real senator. I can't believe we have a real senator in Congress.